What's up, Dan? How you doing?
GM, how are you guys doing? I'm good,
Good.
I'm good.
We're doing good, man. We know it's is it late for you where you're living at?
It's 10 p.m. here. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm based in Singapore, so yeah.
based in Singapore. Nice. Yeah, obviously for the audience, you're probably wondering why we're going live here at 10 a.m. We had the time differences, so we wanted to line something up that worked with Dan. But welcome on the show, Dan. It's exciting to talk to you.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty excited to join this. I really love what you guys do, so yeah, pretty excited to chat tonight.
Much appreciated. Do you do any podcasts or shows? Have you jumped on any before?
Uh, Not really. Jumped on a few podcasts when I had like another role at Jupiter, but apart from that, yeah, this is kind of the first one that I have representing Meteora.
Cool. Yeah, no, we're really excited to pick your brain because obviously these Launchpad wars are just going absolutely nuts. You got a new Launchpad dominating every other week, and people don't really know who's behind all of them. Like the puppet master is what we call it, and it seems like you're just a puppet master, kind of working in the shadows here to make these Launchpads work smoothly for the most part. So, gonna be cool. Gonna be cool to have this conversation. We're excited to jump into it.
Yeah, exciting times right now. Yeah, I mean the Launchpad wars is something that um a lot of people, like a lot of people see that um it's happening on the front. Like you can see Drip Studio, Moonshot, Believe, etc. So yeah, happy to share anything about how Meteora works with them.
Sounds
Yes.
good.
So I guess just to kick it off, can you tell us, Dan, about yourself, your background, your work at Meteora, your work at Jupiter, and what your main focus is right now?
Yeah. Okay. So a little bit about myself is started in Meteora like I would say I would say it's 5 months ago. Yeah. Right now it's my fifth month. And yeah, I mean, ever since I joined, I've been heads down into DBC, which is Meteora's dynamic bonding curve. Also in all kinds of other tech like DLMM, DMM V1, V2, Alpha Vault, and a few exciting products that's coming up soon. Yeah, so really, just been on the technical side. One thing that Meteora kind of needs support at was basically on the tech side because our tech is pretty complicated, I would say. Um, Even for a developer who reads the docs, they might have trouble understanding. So yeah, I think when I came in, it was more on like um, synchronizing with all these launchpads partners, and then really getting them to understand our tech, and yeah, I mean just getting people to use us. Yeah, so that's
Awesome.
just been how I have been building. Previously, I also was a front end developer at Binance. Yeah, so
Oh,
that's about myself.
Sorry, I'm just
okay.
turning this music down. Sorry. But no, that's all super cool stuff. It feels like a few months ago we weren't really talking about all these different launch pads. Do you think, with your work that you've been doing at Meteora starting, I think you said 5 months ago, do you think that's been what's kind of made the difference to start springing up all these launch pads and seeing these wars begin?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite crazy how it all started also because day one when I came in, we had zero launchpad building on top of us. The DBC program literally just went into beta like literally the same week that I joined. So the moment it became beta, then it went into beta, and then we had to find like different launch pads to get to get started with using us. And then we actually had like I would say at that point in time like 10 different Telegram groups that I was in with people using Meteora's DBC. Today, if we want to talk about how many groups, I think I'm almost at my third folder on Telegram. I think each folder has about 100 chats, so I think we have about yeah, 200 plus chats of just launchpads who wants to use Meteora DBC from the chats that I have lah. Yeah, so I would say that's behind the scenes growth. I think on if you look at Jupyter Pro, you can actually see um like all the launch pads that are there except for Bonk and Pump One. The rest are all using Meteora DBC or Meteora's DMM pools. Yeah. So we actually grew we actually grew our our launchpad scene from like just none to like I think over 20 plus, hitting 30 plus. Yeah. So pretty exciting. A lot more coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. I remember like 5 months ago, again, like right around the time you started, I didn't recall seeing really much activity with Meteora on the back end at all. I really don't even recall seeing Meteora on timelines on social media much whatsoever. And I feel like with all these launch pads, that's just changed so drastically in such a fast way. We were on a call with Vesper and Soju, and they gave you a lot of flowers, Dan. They were saying without Dan, we probably wouldn't have all these launch pads popping up, and he's been a big help. When you talk about DBC and some of these other more technical things, you have to understand our audience is not super technical, including myself, including maybe some other guys on the show. But can you kind of explain what a DBC is, or a dynamic bonding curve that is? I would imagine.
Okay. So DBC is actually essentially a bonding curve, like what Palm has, what Bonk is, like what Radium has. But why it's called dynamic is because, or how Soju likes to call it universal curve, is because you can literally configure how your curve shape is like. Because essentially how bonding curves are in like like in our launchpad scene is that it creates like a form of price discovery for base min for like tokens in general. So being able to control the shape of the curve instead of using like a fixed constant product straight line curve that like what Palm and Radium uses. Dynamic bonding curve actually lets you control the price sensitivity of how purchasing a token in our bonding curve will be more exciting as compared to other bonding curves. On top of how much we can configure, like we have the anti-sniping mechanisms. We let you configure however much fees you want. We don't fixate any fees for you, and you can control the price action of your bonding curve, and you can also control how deep how much deep liquidity you want to collect on your bonding curve. Like we don't restrict anything at all. You can even have a 1K initial market cap token, and then it graduates at 5K migration market cap. Or you can have a 1 million initial market cap token that graduates at 10 million migration market cap. So the bonding curve actually handles the math for you so that you, and also on top of that, lets you let your tokens get discovered on all trading terminals like Axiom, Jupe Pro, Photon, etc. So we actually help you to offload all these integration troubles and all those math, and then really give you a holistic product that you can just use and plug and play and get started launching a launchpad within like 1 day or less than a day. Yeah.
That's super cool. You guys have made it really easy. And I think we want to stress here on this stream that, Dan, you're the guy that's created this engine for a ton of innovation on Solana right now, which has launched also a ton of new products. This tweet here, you kind of break down like the 3-step process to building out these systems. Do I have that correct? Or can you kind of walk us through this tweet here?
Yeah. So these 3 steps, launchpad as a service, as I call it, is actually how you can spin up a launchpad with like if you look at the pictures, you basically the first image shows that you can create a DBC config key. So in the config key, you can configure how your curve is shaped, how your graduated pool functions, how your bonding curve pool functions, basically from end to end. And in the next image, you can actually use this config key and launch pools with that config key. So you can see that in this, we also have this API that lets you check whether is it like a new token or a bonding soon token or a bonded token. Yeah, and then we just made it a lot easier. If you click into the token itself, it will actually show you like a trading view chart, basically how Juke Pro looks like. So we give you that whole entire experience. I think in Juke Pro Launchpads tab, I think about roughly 10 of them or almost 10 of them are using this scaffold repository that we have that is completely open source for anyone to use. Yeah.
Right. So it's become really easy to launch these tokens. I've just maybe like a side question on this. This is just something I've always wondered. Like, what is the dynamic on the market when we have millions or tens of thousands of these tokens launching? Like, do these liquidity pools just become like a long-term sink for Sol, basically? Like you have all these thousands of liquidity pools that have a little bit of Sol in it. It just is like Sol that's going to be locked in these different AMMs forever.
Yeah. I think it really depends on how these launchpads configure their bonding curve. I think when you use DBC's config key, you can choose whether you want to permanently lock liquidity. So if you permanently lock liquidity, that means it's really locked forever. And when that SOL is locked forever, it actually forms that sink, like you mentioned. Yeah, so it is good for SOL because on the program there is no way we can, even on our admin side, there is no way we can take out that SOL. So for example, Trump's pool, it's permanently locked liquidity. So there's no way they can withdraw it out unless they do like a huge sell of the tokens that wipe out all the SOL from the liquidity pool. But other than that, it's permanently locked. So you can call it like a sink for SOL, which is good.
Yeah. And so obviously Trump coin was kind of like the peak of the January little run there in Solana. Was it Moonshot? Was Moonshot using this solution? I don't know if they were or were not.
um, like solution, do you mean like DBC or you mean like
Yeah,
just
DBC
Meteora in
or
general?
was Moonshot just running basically an exchange without, they're just kind of doing it over like yeah, they were just running their own internal exchange. I'm just trying to understand like what
Yeah.
started this spark of all of a sudden these DBC protocols or using this kind of like took off is what I'm trying to establish.
Yeah, so actually Trump token is not really DBC because it was launched in January. DBC only launched in like April. Yeah, but I think how Moonshot works is they are like a very Web2 friendly exchange. So they list tokens depending on how they want to list it, like how Binance lists meme coins. Yeah, so Moonshot actually listed Trump, and Trump actually created a pool on. I mean, like Trump's token is actually a pool on Meteora, so that's how they actually list it because they kind of like a DEX, and then they basically use the pool and then like give that feature to Web2, their Web2 users who can buy the token easily. Yeah, and I would say DBC how um we have these launchpad wars is I think a lot of different launchpads they want different configurations. They don't want the very strict 14K initial market cap and 69K graduation market cap like what Palm has. So they really want to control a lot of different aspects of their tokens that launch on their launchpad. So using DBC it was a no-brainer to them. Yeah.
So, would you say what makes Meteora special is that anyone can come to it and quickly customize and basically spin up a whole unique launchpad that's going to set itself apart from Pump, Bonk, Bags, Believe, and be completely different, even though it's using the same underlying technology?
Yeah. If you talk about Bex, Drip Studio, Moonshot Create, Believe, they are all using a very different configuration in terms of how the pool functions in the bonding curve and also how the pool functions after the bonding curve. So yeah, they're all using very different configurations. I think one thing that makes them stand out, and I think it's a very strong reason why they are doing so well. I mean, like they had their moments in doing well, was because I think Meteora on our end, Soju, Malcolm, myself, Vesper, we really abstract the complexity of managing liquidity for them. Basically, we give them a bunch of settings and they can set, and then they can build their own flywheel on top of it. Like if you look, for example, at Bex, uh, they actually use they actually really showed how customizable um, Meteora's tech is. So they really set the baseline with Meteora's tech, and then they built like wrapper programs on top of their product. I mean, on top of our product to really give those kind of creator fee earnings to like to Team Water or Mr. Beast or yeah. So basically, we built that foundation for a lot of these launchpads so that they can fly high. Yeah, so that's the goal that we always are aiming for. Yeah, so
Hmm.
I would say
Wait,
that's
so
why there's this launchpad wars as well. Yeah.
yeah, so help me understand. So, Meteor's underlying tech, it doesn't allow you necessarily to send all fees to a Twitter account, but if you spin up some sort of wrapper on that to redirect it to a Twitter account, that's how Bags is able to actually make that feature like
Yeah.
accessible.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, and on top of that, also how Bex is able to do that is because um our our tech really optimizes how fees are earned. We don't hurt the people buying, but we also make sure that the fees are optimized such that um, these launch pads that are building on top of us, they don't lose out on fees. If you look at market share trading volume, for example, uh, if you see like Bong Fund on second with like 300 million volume and Bex with on third with like 50 million volume. If you go to DeFi Llama, you actually see that Bex is earning way more than Bong Fund. And that's because on our tech side, we really optimize liquidity, how fees are earned with dynamic fees, with our anti-sniping fees. And yeah, so that's how these fees are actually able to be substantial enough for Bex to have that wrapper program to really reward creators. Yeah,
And
so
I
that's
wanna
the
talk
very
about
fun
that.
thing. Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I'm not fully understanding this. I saw obviously Heaven Dex is a big one right now, and I saw an article saying, like, despite doing far less volume than Pump Fun, they managed to make, like, the same amount of fees. How can you make a launch pad? And you said, you know, Bags is doing the same thing and maybe some other Meteora-based launch pads. How do you create a launch pad that makes fees so optimal? Are people paying more in fees, or are people paying the same amount of fees and you're just keeping more?
We are not really keeping more. It's more of like they like for example, if Palm has a 1% fee and we have a 1% fee as well. And then that 1% fee is optimally taken and then given to how Bex wants to manage it. So basically we have the same features, and on top of that we also have dynamic fees, which means that when times are volatile, we actually take a slightly more fee, which is about um I would say 20 bips max that we take, and then we give to the creators. I mean the launch pads basically. So in that sense, we kind of optimize it such that when it's high trading volume, then you can earn slightly more fees, but it's not too extractive. And then when it's low volume, you still earn substantial amount of fees to keep the launchpad going. Because ideally, you want the launchpad to be able to sustain for themselves and not have them to worry about how much they like why are they not earning enough. Yeah.
Interesting. You know, anti-sniping has been like a huge topic. I know everyone's trying to crack the code. Vertigo Dex, I know was a big one that tried to crack it a while ago. That was like their selling point. Anti-sniping, we have mechanisms in place. And from what I could find, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Vertigo Dex, but from what I could find, they didn't really do anything unique that Meteor doesn't already do. Can you talk about firstly, your thoughts on anti-sniping and your thoughts on snipers if you think it's a benefit, or if not, because I know some people think it's actually good to have snipers. But can you tell me your thoughts on snipers and then how you guys plan to counteract them, or what steps you're taking?
Yeah. Personally, I feel that snipers are like, okay, sniping is a feature. So it's up to you whether you want to turn on that feature or turn off that feature. So Meteora kind of gives you that tag to turn on anti-sniping. Reason being is because a lot of people, if you look at how the trenches has been functioning, a lot of the tokens are very bundled on tokens without a sniping mechanism. I mean, without an anti-sniping mechanism. So when they get very bundled, I mean, myself as a fellow trencher, when I see a token with like more than 5% supply owned by this wallet address, I know that it's bundled as shit. So I would just not buy that token. So how do I make this token look more attractive to buy? How do I make it look like the tokenomics is healthy and it's not dumpable by the majority holder? So that's when anti-sniping, that this feature can be turned on. I'm not really sure how Vertigo does it, but on Meteora, we allow you to configure from end to end. We have three main anti-sniping tools. One is Alpha Vault, one is Rate Limiter, and one is Fee Scheduler. So yeah, Fee Scheduler is basically like a fee decay. We start with high fees and then we end with low fees. A lot of the launchpads are using this actually, like Believe, Bags, yeah, and even Juke Studio. Yeah,
And can
but
you real
for
quick
Rate, yeah,
before you get into the
yeah,
other two, can you tell us how that fee decay works so we have a better idea? Is it like based on the blocks? Is it based on time? How like if I
yes.
was really trying to get in quick, how do I know I'm not going to get taxed 99% as opposed to maybe 10% in 3 seconds later?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. On our fee scheduler, we actually allow you to configure whether you want it to be based on slots, which is what Solana has, or block time, which is in terms of seconds. So we actually let you configure in terms of that amount of detail. Um, like how like how it works is basically it's you can choose a high starting fee and it decays over time depending on whether it's based on slots or time, or I mean time as in seconds, and then it will decay until an ending fee, and then the rest of the purchases after the end after the fee scheduler would be just based on the ending fee. So that's essentially how fee scheduler works.
Okay. And is there any
Yeah.
way, like for example, I think you said Believe uses this. Is there any way for me to check based on the launchpad that I'm using what kind of structure they're using so I have like a better idea when I'm trying to execute if I'm really like if I'm getting in
Yeah.
that early?
Yeah, so actually there are two ways you can look at it. One way is on trading terminals, like for example Axiom, they actually show like the text decreasing over time. So it's like you can see at the um, top of Axiom, you see the 99% really decreasing slowly until the ending fee, and then it stops at the ending fee. And then even platforms like Photon has that. Another way is you can simulate your transaction on, for example, Juke Pro, and then you can look at the price impact. If the price impact is bad, you know that fee scheduler is on, and then subsequently you can actually just wait for the fee scheduler to end, or you can just check on SoScan to see and then our docs to actually calculate when this fee scheduler ends, and then you can just do it yourself mathematically on chain. Yeah, and the next question is can people game this? They definitely can, but launchpads are actually also innovating on that by really setting random fee scheduler duration. So there isn't a way how snipers can really game this unless they really dig through and understand what parameters the fee scheduler duration is bounded by for this launchpad. But other than that, snipers just buy without looking. So that's the main target audience that we want to target also.
Yeah, and I've seen some of these snipers buy, and it has worked. I've seen it work before, and then they get taxed like 95, 90%, and they lose a big chunk of their initial buy. Where are those fees going for the most part, generally?
They go to the launchpads. Yeah, so most of it goes to the launchpad. About I think a few percent goes to us. So that's how like Belief and Bags also gets to earn a lot because they have a specific signer for tokens that launch with them. So a lot of people track the signer and then they snipe the tokens, not knowing that there is a fee scheduler. Even Juke Studio has a specific signer as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And can I? So is the objective here to discourage sniping, or like what are we trying to do to? Because I think every retail investor just wants a fair shot at a token, because it's the first 3-minute candles are the ones where all the value is captured, and then it just distributes out beyond that, and then eventually the I guess people are tired of being sold into, and then it just kind of drifts into oblivion, right? So everyone's losing on these types of charts, or at least that's the perception. What is the objective that we're trying to do? Are we trying to stop sniping? Are we trying to hurt them so that it becomes unprofitable? Like, how do you think about this kind of technological arms race going on with these trading softwares?
Yeah, actually, that's a very good question. I think, ideally, I mean, the reason for this anti-sniping feature that you can switch on is mainly just so that tokenomics don't look that bad. Like, for example, 100 SOL buy on a small market cap token will not destroy the token's future just because of poor tokenomics. So what I mean by tokenomics is basically if you go on like anti-sleuthing platforms like GMGN, you can see how much the top holder holds or how much like the top 10 holders hold. And seeing that they control about 20% of the supply is scary for a buyer. And I know that that is like a metric that a lot of the trenches use to know that this token is bundled or not, or whether there's insiders or not. So having this anti-sniping really deters those sniper bots who really blindly run their bots that snipe 100 SOL clips on wallet addresses that launch tokens that they track. So ideally we deter these sniper bots from it. If you are a retail buyer, then definitely you will find and see that if there's a fee scheduler on, then I will come in at the best price. Or if you are okay with paying for the fees, then you can go ahead as well. If you really strongly believe in the token. Yeah, but ideally, if you are a retail investor, you will look at the chart and then you will see the price impact and then you will see whether is it worth to buy this meme or not. Yeah. So ideally it's kind of like a balance, I would say.
I want to ask you what your thoughts are on this. Back in the ETH days, when ETH was really hot, people would actually or protocols would actually blacklist snipers, right? So they had people snipe tokens, and then as soon as these snipers basically bought all the tokens, they would blacklist their wallets so they couldn't sell, transfer, do anything like that. Do you think that's unethical? Do you think that's like a potential way to stop snipers, or what are your thoughts on blacklisting wallets?
Mm, I think blacklisting wallets isn't a. I mean, it's something that can be gained. For example, if this wallet is blacklisted, I can just use another wallet to snipe the token. So it's like it's always like a cat and mouse game where you will always have to chase the sniper in that case on ETH. Yeah, so I would say um, we eliminate any censorship. It's a free for all game. But if you are a sniper and we have fee scheduler on, then you jolly well know that you're gonna get hurt by sniping this token. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then the
Yeah.
value kind of drives back to the launch pads if you do. So it's a push pull. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was fee scheduler. Can you tell us about the other two?
Yeah, so maybe I can touch briefly on Alpha Vault first. I think Alpha Vault is just it's kind of like a pre-sale vault, but the whole purpose of it is just for it to be the first buyer in the pool. So yeah, that's basically how Alpha Vault works. So you are the first buyer. The sniper will never be able to front run you because the Alpha Vault will buy at the point of pool activation. Yeah, so that's
And
for
this
Alpha
is
Vault. Yeah.
and so that's what like Believe has been using for projects that want to snipe, 45-50% of their own supply pre-launch basically.
Believe is using fee scheduler. Yeah, not Alpha Vault. I would say protocols that use Alpha Vault are um yeah, I can't remember and nothing comes to my mind right now, but there's quite a few that uses it. Yeah, like for example, Huma's token launch is purely based on Alpha Vault. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
this is actually an important one because we saw Viva, which was a Believe launch. They bought 50% of the supply and basically the first kind of buy transaction after the token was created. And usually that first kind of $50,000 into the pool is where the most kind of extraction happens, I would say, in some of these. So as an outsider or someone evaluating it, something like that seems like it would be kind of a good token to potentially own, because the company, and I know Believe is a lot of companies, so they're going to want to own some of their supply. They're going to want to have some stake in their own network and some control over, hey, we might use these tokens in the future. So that's where that alpha vault comes in, even though if what you're saying is Believe didn't specifically use it.
Yeah. Believe they are really experimenting a lot. So this, I know this 50% buy, first buy is mainly for how this ICM projects on their platform wants to use the tokens to reward holders or fund their project, etc. So it just gives them more like opportunities to really decide what they want to do with that liquidity. So that's what I know from my conversation with Maruti on what the purpose of that 50% buy is. But they are experimenting a lot of different things. So yeah, pretty exciting to see what Believe cook.
So wait, so that feature then, is that different from the Alpha Vault, or did they build that themselves, or is that Meteora tech that they're using to do that?
They are using Meteora's tech, but they are basically bundling their buy their swap instruction with the pool creation, and then that the amount of tokens that they bought just goes to the creator, which is the ICM project. Yeah, so that is technically just an instruction on our program. Yeah, that allows them to do that 50% ownership of tokens.
And is that non-taxable, or would that be taxed with your rate limit?
Yeah, so if they set anti-sniping, then they will definitely be taxed by that 50% purchase. But if they don't set that anti-sniping, then they will just buy at the base ending fee that they have. So it is
Okay,
still taxable. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tracking. Yeah, awesome, cool. That's good information. If you want,
Rate limiter, was that
Oh
the
yes.
next one?
So rate limiter is actually this new anti-sniping mechanism that we launched during Solana summit in Da Nang. Yeah. So basically, rate limiter is like a fee slope. So like what you mentioned just now, if I'm a normal retail buyer, I will still get hurt by fee scheduler if I were to buy a token with fee scheduler on. But then for rate limiter, if I'm a retail buyer, as long as my purchase amount is not too much, I will not be hurt by by this anti-sniping mechanism. So how rate limiter works is kind of like a fee slope. It's like a tax income bracket. So for example, if you spend more, you get taxed higher. So this tax is actually it's like a tax, it's like a fee step. So if your reference amount is like 1 SOL and I buy 1 SOL amount of tokens, I will just be taxed the base fee. But then if I buy 10 SOL, then I would be taxed like incrementally higher. So that's essentially what rate limiter is. Yeah, as you
interesting.
can see, yeah, so if retail buy, they will get the 1% fee. And then if a large sniper buy, they will actually get 4% fee depending on the reference amount at the top, yeah.
Yeah.
Is 1 SOL. Yeah.
Interesting. I know, Chill. I'm not sure if you went through, but Heaven Dex has been a hot topic, and that's obviously, I don't know what you want to call it, competitor or just another launch pad. And Heaven Dex has done all of this independently, right? So I guess typically people would go to Meteora to have their launch pads built and spin it up via Meteora tech. Heaven's kind of done it different when they built out their own for the last 8-9 months or whatever. I would love to kind of go through some of their features and kind of compare and see how it stacks up against Meteora. If you
Yeah.
have that pulled up.
Yeah. Sounds good. I actually don't really know what Heaven has.
I think
Yeah,
Chill has one.
so let me pull up this article real quick and let me share my screen as well. So first off, they have this article basically just kind of outlines exactly what they've done to to this Launchpad and AMM that is different than others. And basically what they're saying is it's not only a Launchpad, but they've also built their own in-house AMM, right? And that kind of um, helps them to not pay on, have to pay Meteora a fee, and that gives them a little bit more optionality in terms of where those fees go and how much fees they collect. So, like they said here, no other launchpad can do this because they're literally paying Meteora and Radium to facilitate their transactions, whereas they don't have to. They don't have that additional fee that they have to pay out. So essentially, they can collect more because they own the full tech stack. But this is the part that I kind of wanted to ask you about. And is they're MEV resistant, they're sniper resistant. Did you mention what like when you go through the Meteora DBC to kind of spin up your own launchpad? Does it like automatically come with MEV resistance?
I mean, MEV resistance is really dependent on mainly your RPC or etc. But I would say that you are not really prone to MEV, but like as what they mention. I mean, I'm not too sure what kind of MEV resistance they have here, because MEV is more of like an RPC thing, and then whether you get sandwiched between multiple, like whether you get sandwiched between like this MEV guy person. Yeah, so not too sure what they mean by that. It might just be it might be a fancy term, because
Got you.
personally, when I'm at Meteora, we don't really experience any user who faced any MEV and then they complain to us. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. The other thing here is their sniper resistance. So they kind of outlined that they had a 6-second sniper delay, a 6-second sniper tax that decays linearly on the market open of the new pair. Now they did say it was similar to the to Meteora's DAMM V2, but they said this except it's standardized, so it's not like customizable. Um, and so how different is that um from Meteor's approach to sniper resistance? Good.
On Meteora, we let you customize anything, like how much fees for the anti-sniping and also the duration. It's totally up to you to experiment with. 6 seconds for them, I guess they fixed the fees for tokens that launch with them. I mean, like anti-sniping fees. But then on Meteora, we actually really let you customize end to end and choose what kind of anti-sniping mechanism you want to use. So yeah, I mean, for us, we give you the customizability. So we are not really giving you a textbook to launch with. We are really letting you innovate on top of our tech. Yeah, so I guess that's the mode that Meteora always promotes.
Gotcha. And in from your experience with building all of this, um, with your experience building all of this out, do you feel like having that customizability is just better on for builders?
Yeah, I mean, it's better to customize your fee scheduler or rate limiter as compared to just an on and off switch. So if you have an on and off switch, it's very restrictive. So imagine if I have a 6 seconds anti fee scheduler. I mean, a fee scheduler. If I have it on for 6 seconds, and then I realize that the momentum in my tokens are not exactly sniper worthy, and then I choose to off it. But then the moment I off it, snipers actually come in. So where is that balance in that where uh it doesn't kill momentum with 6 seconds, and on top of that, how do I still like avoid snipers from sniping my tokens? So Meteora actually lets you customize even up to just 400 milliseconds. Yeah, so that's exactly like why we also encourage people to experiment, because there is there isn't really a textbook answer to how markets are in general. So
Right.
being able to be flexible this in any market condition especially is really crucial in crypto because of the volatility, and attention and market movement.
Very nice. Very nice.
What I'm really
Mhm.
curious about is, again, this has been like within the last 5 months, Meteor has basically been able to capture this market and pretty much dominate, if you ask me. Where do you guys see the next 5 months going when it comes to like Launchpad Wars? Do you think we're going to get a new Launchpad every other week that kind of pops up and takes over? Or do you think at some point it settles out? Like, where do you think we are 5 months from now, Dan?
um that's a very good question. Personally, I see our tech stack being like, I'm like every day I'm trying to see how we can get Meteora's tech stack get Meteora's tech stack out there. On top of that, how we make it a lot easier for integrators to use us, such that whenever anyone wants to spin a new launchpad, we'll definitely have. I mean, they can do it within like a day or something, and then in the future there will definitely be millions of launchpads. You can even see launchpads on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, basically any social media platform. I think on X you already see like over 100 different launchpads that just text them and then you launch a token. Um, how I see the launchpad wars going is really, as long as they have the fundamental tech support, marketing support, and BD support that Meteora provides, they can have the mental capacity to really think of what kind of flywheels they want to build on top of it. So I think this is what's very crucial for a lot of launchpads nowadays, because we provide the tech for you so that like we basically abstract the liquidity um, worries that you have so that you can build the tech on top of it to really find that PMF in the launchpad that you build. Because not every platform like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok needs to have token launches there. But you have to create like these launchpads have to create the reason why you will want to launch a token there. Yeah. So I think on Meteora, we really have a very solid team that really abstracts the headache of integrating with us so that you can really truly focus on building that flywheel that everybody is hyped up about. Yeah. And really finding that PMF in your launchpad. So I would say that we are walking towards a million launchpads in the future. Even in 5 months, we can have thousands of launchpads, or maybe 100 launchpads by then on Juke Pro. But I think whether this launchpad succeed or not is really up to the flywheel that they build on top of very strong foundation tech that they build on. Yeah. So I think that's how I see. Yeah.
So
That's a
you
great answer.
guys, so you guys provide the tech solutions, and that kind of in and of itself kind of gives them the ability to experiment, the ability to kind of set things up in a way that they feel is successful for, or they feel is good for them, and really everything else is just on them. So you guys provide the tech, and it's just up to their BD, up to their storytelling, up to their marketing to kind of draw in that audience. Am I summarizing that correctly?
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
And I think that on top of like the liquidity, um like on top of how we support them on the liquidity side, on the liquidity tech side, we are also experimenting on building helper programs to really help them to really find that mode so that you don't have to bounce between different ecosystems, like different tech stacks. Like you don't have to bounce between Meteora, Orca, or Radium. etc., just to find that mode. But you can just do it all on Meteora with like new helper programs that we built. So I think if you look at our docs, we are like soft launching a few helper programs like dynamic fee sharing. This helper program that really helps you to dynamically fee share your fees that you've earned from your program. I mean from your liquidity pools. So yeah, we are also constantly innovating such that we make the Launchpad's life easier so that they can focus on really finding that mode and really focusing on getting the people to use their products. Yeah.
So to summarize this, because obviously, like Heaven Dex popped up and was really hot. What we're trying to, I think, establish here is just like going forward. These launch pads, is this sustainable competition, or is it so competitive because the friction to starting a new one with new parameters is so low that like the next hot launch pad is just going to be competing with volume, attention, and traders and projects, with a ever growing long tail of these launch pads because, essentially what you guys have done is made this open source, free, and easy to use.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we made everything open source, easy to use. And I mean, we have a team that just wants you to succeed. So I think that's really the main thing about Meteora. And also, I feel that flywheels, they have an expiry date because not everything is up only forever. So there will be times when these products will always have to innovate and find different modes and different product market fit and different flywheels that helps them to gain attention because ultimately you don't want to wash trade your way to the top of the table. You don't want to have a trading bot on just to be at the top of the table. Like you want to be a high revenue protocol so that you can constantly hire good talent and then innovate and then really build a solid product. So I think that's how Meteora kind of like that's a priority that like these are the kind of builders that Meteora prioritize as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I got a question that might get you in a little bit of trouble, but I remember actually before the show, Chill had kind of mentioned that, when you're looking at protocols like this, you really need someone that's in the trenches because so many protocols we see today feel like they're really disconnected from what the people actually want. And when you came in here, one of the first things you said was, I'm a fellow trencher. I trade myself. What has been your favorite launchpad to trade recently, if you can say?
Can't
Favorite
say
launch
Meteor tech based. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
um favorite launchpad.
Or maybe
I-
if you don't want to answer what your favorite is to trade, maybe like what's the one that you see has really done something unique and excites you quite a bit?
That's a good question. I think maybe I actually right now, if you ask me, I don't really have a favorite launchpad to trade. I'm more on like the sideline looking at this launchpad succeed. What I meant when I was a trencher was when during the Trump token launch days, during the agent token days, that was when I was really heavily trading, and then I was trying to understand what these trenchers were really thinking and understanding and really buying at that point in time. So I think that experience came into play. I mean, nowadays I still buy tokens just for fun, but most of them are just used to test Meteora's tech or like Meteora's new tech.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, my going back to the question, which launchpad has something interesting? I think it really depends. I would say Bex right now they have something pretty cool. Quite excited to see their social media, um, like basically how you can tokenize Charlie D'Amelio or tokenizing some various celebrities. I think that would be pretty interesting, and then they can use the fees earned to do whatever they want. And then yeah, I think the amount of use cases that Bex open up with their tech is really quite extra, like pretty good. Yeah, and then I would say Jupe Studio is also doing a lot because they are customizing a lot of different things, and I think a lot of big things are happening there that a lot of people are not seeing yet. Yeah, but yeah, quite exciting. And also for Belief, I think Belief has been going through a lot of shit, but I think it's mainly because of price action as well. When your price of your token is not doing well, then definitely people will fund you. But then when it's good, then everybody will call you like a genius. But I think Belief is having their moment of ups and down. But honestly, quite excited to see what they cook up, because I know that their team is really doing it's really doing a lot behind the scenes. So yeah.
Yeah, a concept I've continued to battle with, and I kind of lean towards, this not being an issue in the future. But it feels like, we'll take Believe for example. Right now, obviously, you said the Believe ecosystem's down, or the Believe token's down, which it is, and we've seen that kind of drags down all ecosystem tokens. Do you think in the future, uh, token success is going to be dependent on the Launchpad, or do you think it'll be independent in the future? Whereas, you said you think we'll have a million Launchpads at some point. Do you think we have a million Launchpads and it doesn't matter where the tokens launch, it's going to do good based on its memetics, based on its utility, based on its flywheel? Do you think, or do you think that the Launchpad is going to always be dependent on the token success?
Yeah, I saw that was like a valid. I saw that question in some chat recently where like people are worried that the the price action of their token is very restricted by the primary token that the Launchpad has. But I would say that um that's not really crucial. I mean, that's not really like a valid worry, but actually it is a valid concern. But I think ultimately, as long as the token builds that excitement, builds that speculation, there is no price ceiling. Like for example, if you look at hype, you feel that there is no price ceiling to that token. But um yeah, and how do you build that speculative feature? I don't think it's really bounded by the Launchpad's token, like Launchpad's primary token. I think it's mainly based on how much speculation, how much attention you can bring to it. And ideally you want to create a token that feels like there is no price ceiling. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
I
just
tend.
my thoughts.
We all want tokens without any price ceiling. So
Yeah, can you
Yeah,
can you set design something to do that?
yeah,
topless
where's
tokens,
the up
bro.
only ones, Dan? And let us know early, please.
I think um when we talk about no price ceiling, I think the token has to help people make money in that sense, such that people are really believing in that token regardless of the price action, because they just know that that token has made them money. So they have that affirmation that okay, this token ain't that bad. So that's the first move. Yeah, the second move is really to build those flywheels constantly and then get that excitement going for that token. So yeah, I think ideally people want to make money on crypto. They don't want to lose money. And I think um trust is kind of valued in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to tap into trust because I think this whole thing kind of boils down to it. Trust that you're not getting extracted from unfairly. Trust that someone else doesn't have an unfair or inside advantage. Maybe like, and maybe this is more of an ethos thing than a technology thing. But maybe from your point of view and Meteora, like, how do you guys look at building trust with the broader crypto ecosystem?
Um I think trust comes in a lot of different um ways. I think the most important thing is communication. Like you have to communicate with people that use your tech, people who want to use your tech, regardless of how much behind the scenes shipping you do. I think that's a very, very important thing, because ultimately, you want to give your presence that you are still here. You don't want to show that you are behind the scenes building, and then like not many people will actually go into the tech and see, oh, this is actually, oh, you actually moved the nav bar padding 5 up. Like nobody actually bothers about that. Yeah, so you have to communicate and really promote yourself, and I think that's what Meteora has been doing and will be focusing a lot on, because ideally we want to get that attention, we want to get that mind share, so that people will actually move to what's actually good tech in this industry. Because DeFi itself has a lot of use cases, and I think the future for DeFi is very, very bright. And I think as long as we are heads down building behind the scenes, and on top of that, we communicate what we are building and anything and everything under the sun, as long as we show that we are there, that's how we can get. That's how we show that we are here in the long run as well. And also, when times are shaky, we don't run away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys a lot of credit. For this show, it's supported by the Meteorite Collective, which is incubated by Meteora, and you guys have been really supportive of us. And I think our mission, and I hope everyone watching gets kind of tidbits of information about the technical, plumbing that is below the products that everyone is using and trading on, and in some sense trusting with their financial assets. And you guys have done a really good job of putting yourselves out there and building that credibility. So want to give you guys a shout out on that specific. And the proof is in the dashboard. Look at the $250 million in swap volumes, $800 million in TVL, and 1.5 billion in fees. Maybe one kind of final question for me is just the Meteora, Jupiter, like organizations. What's it like to work for these companies? I think they're primarily based in Singapore, but any sort of like kind of view you can give us into these organizations, what it's like to work there and be part of this movement would be amazing.
Wow, I think personally, I feel that the company has a lot of very, very smart people. Like, when I say smart, like, they are really, really smart. They don't really use social media that much, but they really heads down building, and then researching, and then really exponentially pushing DeFi to its limits. I think the company is quite filled with that. On top of that, everybody here is a driver, is a winner. Like, everybody wants, everybody's all very aligned on getting, on helping the company win in all aspects. So everybody here has like high drive and very, very fast pace. Like, it's a very young team kind of vibe, where we just move very fast. We don't go through, we don't dwell too much into protocols, KYC, all those kind of things. We just do, and then we figure it out, and then so that's basically how we execute. Obviously, on the program side, we will go through 3 levels of audits, and then we treat security very seriously. But in terms of work wise, we are all very fast. We're all doers instead of yappers.
Yeah, and the title of the stream was the puppet master behind the Launchpad Wars. At least in North America, that kind of refers to you guys, and you as being like the mastermind behind the Launchpad Wars, let's say, sparking that revolution. I mean, personally, that's got to be incredibly exciting to be kind of that, building the tools that underpin such a large part of Solana's on-chain activity right now.
Yeah, it is exciting. I think the first thing I check is always Jupiter Pro, to see where we are at, and then how we can always climb up.
Yeah, you're waking up in the morning, hitting the refresh on Jupiter Pro and saying, "Hey, am I moving the numbers today?"
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, I love those questions. I love hearing the insight from what it's like working at these big corporations and companies and people that are making a difference for crypto. It's super cool. One question I got for you, and I've seen this, there are a few creators on Believe per se that are saying, we want to migrate away, or we don't want the Launchpad to hold us down. Whether you think that's an excuse or not, that's not the point. I'm wondering, we saw Kled, quote unquote, migrate away from Believe. Can you tell me what actually changed there? Because it seems like, other than them just claiming they're no longer a part of Believe, they're still a part of Meteora, and really nothing's changed from like a fee structure or a standpoint at all. Can you does anything change when you quote unquote migrate away from Believe, but you just kind of make yourself still a Meteora token?
On the technical side, nothing changed. The only thing we changed is we kind of got all the trading terminals to let them know that okay, Clap is no longer part of Belief. We should tag them under a different launchpad. Yeah, so that's essentially what we did. And I think what's the difference between I think the difference is more on the more off chain rather than on chain, because on chain everything still stays the same. But off chain, if you talk about Clap Living Belief, that means that they don't receive the Belief perks, like all those subscriptions, all those like different discounts that they have that is catered to the ICM tokens there. I think Clap will not be included in that, but I think they are fine with that as well because they are also probably well funded in different areas. So yeah, I think it's a clean break. They are still indirectly supporting each other from what I can see from chats, and also yeah, I think and also I think competition is unavoidable. So them being competitive is also good, I would say, because that means that they will definitely push each other, push themselves to really prove to each other why their why the decision for each of them makes sense. Yeah, so I think it's good.
I totally agree. You mentioned something that got me curious. You said it's more of a off-chain thing. When it comes to your relationship with these different terminals like Axiom or Photon, when you get a new launchpad launching via Meteora, are you going to them and saying, "Hey, how about you add this launchpad to your terminal so you can see all the new launches from there?" Is that how these launchpads get on these terminals? You guys pretty much
Yeah.
reaching out?
So yeah, I mean we have to reach out. On top of that, these launchpads have to obtain like a certain amount of trading volume. But we have the connections to really link them up and get them visible out there. But I think ultimately it's still up to the launchpads on proving themselves to really get allow us to pitch to Axiom or Photon like why they should include a tag for this launchpad. Yeah, so because on their end it's kind of like on the back end they have to tag and index all the transactions and tokens launched from that launchpad. So I think there has to be a reason why trading terminals will want to um, tag you. Yeah. So yeah, but on that side, Meteora fully supports and will always try to empower our launchpads to get more visibility. Yeah.
Super cool, Dan. That pretty much wraps it up for the questions I had. Josh, Chill, I'm not sure what you guys have left or if you're good.
Honestly, I think we went through quite a bit today, and we really picked your brain about a lot today, Dan. So we appreciate you joining us and giving us the inside scoop. It's honestly, I think I'm good on questions. I don't know about you, Josh.
Yeah, I think I'll wrap this. First off, thanks so much for your time. I know it's a late evening for you spending here on our stream. You have an incredible background. You've done a lot. You've built a lot of the infrastructure that people use every day. That's got to feel great. If you want to hear more from Dan, I don't know how many E's are in here. 5. So it's Dan, 2 N's, 1 W, and then 5 E's at the end. Dan so go follow at Dan. He'll be tagged in the Twitter stream box, so you can find it there. And I'll leave off. Every flywheel has an expiry. Just keep your heads down and build real products. That's a very good saying. And look at you starting the Meteor sign off like the Hyperliquid people do. So
Let's
Oh,
go.
you
I
know
gotta start
this.
using it.
yeah. Any final thoughts, Dan? And then we'll end her there.
It was a very, very fun conversation. I think you guys really asked really good questions, and I really appreciate all of your time. And also appreciate you guys bringing me on for this podcast. And I look forward to listening to you guys more. And then hopefully next time I come, there'll be more exciting things to talk about.
Well, let's get you on in 6 months when there's a million different launch pads, and you can come back with a little update on how things have been going.
Let's go.
100%. Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks, Dan. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll chat with you in a bit.
Yep.
Thanks so much,
Thank you
Dan.
guys so much.
See ya.
Peace out.